Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next super stock live stream, where we bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. Companies going after massive multi-billion-dollar market opportunities with multiple shots on goal, and that are now at a key inflection point. And that brings us back to HOTH Therapeutics, HOTH on NASDAQ, and Rob Need, the CEO. Rob, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate you having us on again today. Much appreciated.
Rob, so you've had some actually really strong news in the last couple of weeks, which we want to catch up on. Again, I think HOTH really epitomizes like what we look for. Stocks which have like really multiple shots on goal, multiple catalysts, where you have these shots at these 10x upside potential opportunity for the stock to increase 10x plus. You got 5 drug development programs, and 2 of them I think are in the spotlight right now. So you have right now today you announced you're expanding the clinical trials in Europe for which is now your lead drug candidate, which is with HT-001, the chemo rash.
That's correct.
Okay. And also you have right now you have the phase 2A. It's ongoing in the U.S. right now. The clinical trials are
that is true as well. Correct.
Yeah. And so a couple of things let's catch up on. Like you had some positive data about 4 weeks ago, right? You had some positive data that you had a couple of pieces of news came out. So let's kind of, maybe we can get an update on that, and then I also want to talk about the obesity drug that you're developing with the VA. We'll talk about that later. But first, let's talk about HT-001. So give us kind of the update, what's happening in Europe, and why it matters.
Great. So HT-001 continues in the clinic here in the U.S. We continue with the trial for the phase 2A. So far, the signal has been very strong, with patients showing very good results. Nobody has had to stop their treatment. Nobody has had any side effects. And patients have cleared who have had these cutaneous lesions that are formed through a chemotherapy rash through the chemo EGFR type drugs. We recently announced just today that we're expanding the trial now to Europe. So what does that mean? That means more patients, quicker program, quicker to data. So we're going to be launching in Europe to get more patients involved. We've had a lot of patients, emails and text, phone calls, asking for us to expand into Europe so patients can actually use the drug, because there's nothing else out there at this point for chemotherapy rash. So we think, it's a category that nobody has gone after. We think we have the category killer, and, we're excited about the drug. Going into Europe helps us move the trial at a quicker pace.
Okay. And real quick, so just for anybody that may not be familiar with HOTH and the chemo rash, what is this market? What is this market that you're addressing? Can you tell what's the significance?
Yeah, so this is a huge opportunity. Chemotherapy and EGFR drugs are billion-dollar drugs here in the United States alone. So you've got hundreds of thousands of patients who go through EGFR treatment, and what happens, the biggest side effect is this chemotherapy rash and these cutaneous lesions that take over the face, the body, the nails, the hair, everywhere. So what happens is about 30% of patients have to stop treatment. When they stop treatment, that puts their life at risk. So we're the only drug now in the clinic for this HT-001 for this EGFR issue that happens throughout different cancers. So like I said, we think we have a huge opportunity ahead of us.
Okay. So and you've had positive data so far. So I mean, this is
correct. Yep.
And it's
have either resolved, shown good safety. So we've got a lot of good stuff going on here.
Okay. And you also had that key opinion leader meeting about a month ago, right, on this drug with the doctor. I guess he's kind of.
We had Dr. Zippin from Weill Cornell and Dr. Adam Friedman from George Washington University. Dr. Friedman is one of the leading dermatologists, and he does a lot of oncoderm. And he did a investigator-led case at GW with a patient with breast cancer, and they used HT-001, and they resolved their chemo rash within 2 weeks. Were able to continue their treatment.
Okay, and I think you're also. Are you going in the what is it called, the right to try that
we've applied? So we're applying for that as well. We have used Premier to help us with that, Premier Clinical to help us apply for that. It's called the Expanded Access Program.
Expanded access, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so expanded access, the advantage of that would be what? You're going to have more data coming in. Also, it'll
Yeah,
get
so that's
more.
patients who are not in the trial. A doc can call us and say, hey, we've got a patient. They're not in the trial, but they're in really bad shape. Can you please help us and let us try the drug?
Okay, so if you do get expanded access, I mean, that would be actually, like, I think, a game changer for the stock. I mean, that would be actually a
Big deal for the company, no doubt. We get more patients, we get more data.
Yeah.
We show, the community out there, the pharmacological community, that we are working for patients who even are not in the trial, who can at least try the drug and try to help them as well.
And when do you think we would have? What's the when do you think you can get that expanded access? I mean, I know it's not guaranteed. I know it's
we're in the process, and we'll update the street as we have more data on that from the FDA.
Okay, good. Okay, so bottom line is, you're expanding clinical trials in Europe, so things are moving forward. So again, you're moving forward on this. I think the market doesn't quite understand it, or doesn't quite appreciate.
It's interesting. We've got a lot of shots on goal. We've got a drug in the clinic that's showing very strong signals so far. We've got patients clamoring to try the drug. We're expanding to Europe. We've got our obesity drug. We just signed a deal with with the VA to work with them in developing this. We have our oncology drug, which hopefully we'll get in the clinic late next year. So there's a lot of great opportunities here. Biotech, for whatever reason, has been out of fashion for a bit, but we think we've got a great pipeline, and we're excited about it. I'm a believer, as in everybody here on our team. So, the way we all succeed is by bringing these drugs to market and being successful.
And also, the company has 10 million in cash. It's important to note that you have plenty of cash to bring all your clinical programs through. At least
where to spend our money, and 001 and obviously obesity and oncology drugs are our big goals for 25 and 26.
Okay, let's talk about the obesity drug that you're developing. Again, that news came out about a month ago, and for some reason, I think the market really missed it. So, just again to recap, what exactly are you doing with the VA and this drug? Again, obesity is hot market right now.
Totally. So we licensed a drug with the Veterans Administration for obesity. Different kind of drug, different way to go about things. And we signed a deal with the VA and Emory University recently to do the study with them. So this is a drug being developed at the VA. We now have a license for that drug. We will now work to the VA to bring this through the clinical process and get to patients. So pretty exciting. We all know the semaglutide market's pretty big, but this is obviously a different kind of drug, different mechanism. We're hoping for less side effects than patients currently go through, and hoping for oral formulation. That would be a game changer for this market. So we're excited about it. The preclinicals will continue. They'll be led by the VA and HOTH Therapeutics.
Okay, so the bottom line is, I think what's going to make this different, what's going to give you kind of that advantage, assuming it gets commercial, is again less side effects, and ideally if you can get into an oral form versus like the injections and all the side effects that you have with Ozempic and everything else.
Correct. There's a lot of patients who are just not comfortable giving themselves a shot, and tons of people with side effects, whether it's gallbladder, nausea, whatever it might be. There's lots of side effects with the semaglutides.
Okay. So right now you're going to be doing, what is it? There's going to be a head-to-head study versus semaglutide by the VA, right? So they're doing it, you're funding it,
right?
And when is that going to start?
So we hope to start this coming quarter.
Okay.
So you have to put the program in place, which we recently did. We signed the CRADA with the VA. We've ordered the animals that are needed to do the study. Now we're just putting everything in place, getting the drug formulated, so then we can do the study.
Okay. So so basically that's coming up next quarter. That's going to be next quarter. And when would you have some data from that study?
Right. So we're hoping to have data early next year, most likely.
Okay.
We might have some earlier. All depends on how quick we formulate the drug, we get it to the VA, and they're able to administer it to the animals. So we'll have a better update on that, I would say, in the next couple of weeks, which will alert the market as to what we're looking for on timing.
Got it. So again, right now there's actually really multiple catalysts. You have 5 programs that you have multiple catalysts, kind of like they're stacked, going out for the next 6 months. There's probably going to be news flow like every couple of weeks. I mean, I know it's not something you can manufacture. It's not like you're going to have some real potential stuff.
We always try to keep everybody informed of what we're doing, from our new oncology drug, which is the exon skipping oncology drug from mast cell tumors that's developed out of NC State with us, which we're in preclinicals for, and we're hoping to open our IND soon on that. We have orphan drug status for that. So we've got like I said, there's quite a few exciting therapeutics in our pipeline that we're looking to have in the clinic as quick as possible, along with 001 that's already in the clinic.
Okay, we got a couple minutes left. Let's see if we got some audience questions here. Let's see, or comments, questions. We'll see what we can get to here. Skinport Trading, Charlotte here. I'd love to hear how our company is helping patients and alleviating pain. Okay. Richard Jags, okay, thank you for reposting. Money Mastery saying one of your drugs is okay, has already approved in the past. Is that correct? Like, was
HC001, which was approved for a different affliction, but then reformulated by us to a topical with other additives. That is HC001. It's not used for nausea in our trial. It's used for skin toxicities. Total different use, total different patents that we have that nobody else has.
Okay, and I guess his question: the rest of your pipeline is as good as phase 2. Can you? I'm not sure if I understand this question. What is the question?
We're asking about the other drugs in our pipeline, which we touched on. We touched on the obesity drug, that's obviously new, and obviously our oncology drug, which was super exciting, that has shown great job as far as going after. It's called HT Kit, and folks can look at it on our website, get a little bit more familiar with it, talk about what we're doing with that, and hopefully to get that in the clinic next year.
Okay, we got Omar. Says, my name is Omar. I'm an analyst at Con Capital. We've been researching HOTH and are interested in understanding more about your pipeline, upcoming milestones, and overall strategy. He's got questions. Omar, ask away. We got ask your questions. We got a couple minutes, I think, still, right? We got about 5 minutes.
I've got to hop.
Hopefully, Omar can type fast. And we'll answer questions.
Talking about phase of growth, we're obviously a clinical biotech company. Our growth comes from obviously whether we license the drugs to other companies, commercialize them, or sell the company. That's really the story here, as is most biotechs. Our goal is get in the clinic, get the data, show the bigger guys what we have, and hopefully they want to either own the drug or own us. Obviously, we could commercialize these ourselves if we wanted to too, but building a sales force is an expensive proposition.
Yeah, so he's saying, okay, so Omar saying we're looking at your most advanced asset, HT01, compound prior. So again, the drug has prior FDA approval. Okay, he's saying that developing as a topical suggests potentially lower risk of systemic.
That's correct. So he's talking about the systematic adverse effects. So it is a topical, which is much different, obviously, than ingesting a drug or having it through an IV, whatever it might be. We have shown great safety in animal studies, and thus far in our clinical studies, there's been no safety issues as well. So showing that gives us a great leg up, obviously, with the FDA.
Okay, so he's asking, okay.
Worth of cash he has a question regarding our cash runway. We have over a little over a year's worth of cash.
Which, by the way, is actually very good. Yeah, I just read an article like
really tight ship. We really do.
Yeah, there was just an article that came out. Like, there's a lot of companies. I think in the Bay Area, biotech companies that have gotten like really decimated, and a lot of them have less than 6 months. They have less than 6 months runway of cash. Right. And they're just basically, it's.
And they've raised hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. And so you actually, You're probably, I mean, HOTH in terms of biotech, it's probably like in terms of the cash, it's probably in the top 10% cash.
Yeah, we're
cash.
very lean on how we run the company. Use a lot of consultants, a lot of outside consultants to help us. We keep the inventors involved, which keeps our overhead low because those folks are very passionate about the drugs that they're developing. So,
Okay.
having the cash obviously helps us quite a bit, where we are, and having over a year's worth of cash definitely puts us in a stronger position. I hope that's good, Jack, for today.
Well, two more questions, Rob. Two more questions. We got two more questions. Okay. So, Money Master saying, is the risk of not getting approved? Is it extremely low risk, or what is the risk? What would
I'm
you
not
say?
the FDA. Unfortunately, I can't, until we have further readout on the patients. I see the question. Until we have further readout and complete the trial and submit the data to the FDA, and this is a phase 2, so then we have to do a phase 3 as well.
Yeah.
So, like I said, our safety concerns, are not there. We've had great safety on the drug, great tox, animal study, great safety thus far in the clinic, which we've reported back. Opining on these are tough to do because these are FDA trials. So you complete the trial and then you share that data with the FDA.
Okay, but you have safety is not the issue. So the only issue really would be the efficacy, right? Is that kind of the main?
Yeah, well, this is a safety and efficacy trial because different delivery of the drug, it's a different mechanism of action, different formulation. But we're confident thus far. Like I said, we've had no issues with the animal studies, tox, and no issues, obviously, in the clinical trial. Everybody has gone through the trial safely.
Okay, last question. Which is a great question. So, which upcoming clinical readouts do you believe are inflection points for the company? In other words, I guess he's asking, what do you have coming up that's going to move the stock?
I think we'll have continued data on HT001 as the trial progresses, enrolling more patients in Europe. So we'll have quicker readout, hopefully, from those patients as well. The more patients we get, the quicker we'll have readout, right? The other part is we have some studies coming up on HT-KIT, which we think are pretty exciting. We're waiting to get results from those to see what we can, help us get to the clinical trial quicker than, anticipated.
Okay. That's okay. Rob, thank you again for the update. Thank you, everybody, for the great questions. And we hope to have you back on, with the next major news announcement.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate you.
Thank you again. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.